Hello everyone. The title of today's episode is Initiations of the Reckless. And what that means is within the human experience there's a consideration which is our recklessness. We don't seem to be that model of perfection we always want to be at all times. And that's simply because the energy that you are is shifting and fluctuating as your intention is creating your world. So man needs to become aware. Simply put, awareness is the answer to all problems, for it's a new state of being. And in a new state of being, there was never a problematic self, in that sense of how you shall be revealed to yourself. When there is a talk about initiations of the reckless, it is very important to understand why a reckless person wants to be initiated. And why is there an initiation? Because recklessness can manifest as how a being is not seeing an aspect of its experience fully because he's not confronting all of it, and in a sense wants to be initiated into a greater experience of where he is. Once you begin to see that now is where you are profoundly present in where you can be. You see, the minute individual consciousness is considered, manifestation comes to focus. It's that moment where creation's like, all right, creator, let me see how you did it, And you begin to see that moment is simultaneous, that man's sincerity takes him up to the peak. And as he has trusted the mountain, he sees there's nothing there. And so still there are angels among clouds which tell man to look at how far you've climbed. But man is at the peak. And what is to come next is how the individual consciousness will move to its collective, in the sense that the next journey, my friend, is never a physical one. It is how physicality catalyzed you, was your inspiration, your whole moment of existence, its uniqueness, how you saw color, how you saw the walls around you. Let me tell you, prisoners are creative, and rebellion has been a natural process of man, not rebellion against something, but rebellion against ideas that don't serve humankind. And so kindly man must begin to consider that as many prisoners there are behind bars, each prisoner has their own view of how they're going to get out. Each person has their own view of their life. We're 8 billion people who have a new way of looking at things every moment. What is up? Everything. Because directions are only there to be purposeful for the being who's choosing to create a sense of game. And a game means that your activity is suggesting who you are, rather than those intentions, that existential aspect of your knowing that brought the activity into manifestation. What that means is silence is profound, for before the speaker has spoken there are worlds hiding, worlds present but hiding. And the minute one child begins to make his first word, you begin to see the sound of your moment into how manifestation seen is your initiation. The greatest initiations has come from the self. The self is where everything in reality comes down to, and as you study it, you study life. For man was alive in more ways that he could understand. Because the rest of the path he's not standing under anything. We are no longer looking at shadows and wondering why the world is cruel. We are jumping into the source of the spark in which we have been an emanation of, and still are. Recognize that that aspect you seek, when it is said it is seeking you, it is here, because your understanding of it will come down to how your modality of thought was just a construction in a day, and immediately it can collapse. It's very interesting because in ideology, when man comes into its presence, when you come into the presence of ideas, and you're silent, and if you're observant of the ideas being communicated and you actually hear it, you see it is as if titans are being unleashed. And so it's like that moment where you begin to see that ideology is telling you this is your world, but man knows that his eyes are not for ownership. And so as you change those words and come to now, you never owned what you never had. Become aware of this temporal nature. Do not seek into the temporal illusions that this physical reality creates, because it's a changing process. So acknowledge it as a system, and now you don't want to just study one part of the system. In other words, you don't want to keep looking at that gear moving. You want to see how the whole machine is made. If you're taking a mechanical approach, what you need is to bring more existential intelligence, and it will take you towards philosophy a bit, but you do not need it. You are an explorer, an experimenter, if you're a scientist, of your present moment. And so there are aspects of you that cannot move, but mankind has to acknowledge and can acknowledge, and it's there. What that means is you might be the greatest artist and you have drawn your greatest painting, and you might go sit down and randomly someone might come up to you and say, hey man, you don't look like you ever know how to draw. And so as you're there listening to this person's insults, you need to think for a second, what is happening? And so there in your observance, there is the transience of your individuality and the other being's communication. And do you know why you do that? Why we even hear the other being? For it is our affinity for existence. Regardless of how much I might hate that guy, regardless, if I become sensitive existentially, I cannot hate another aspect of this life. You think nature means trees? No, nature means everything that is into this existence and how you breathe it in. For you must also breathe it out. And remember, why the sky never needed a name. Much blessings and namaste.